Welcome to the weekend edition of the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson, and hello, Sean Aylmer.
Hello, Michael.
Sean, on weekdays, it's all about the Fast 5, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. On the weekend, we still keep it, obviously, to 5 minutes, but we're going to pick out the biggest story of the week, the most remarkable story, the sleeper story, one that's kind of flying under the radar a little bit, so a bit of a hot tip, one to watch there, and our favourite story. So let's jump straight into it. The biggest story of the week. Can I go first, Sean?
Yes, Michael, please do.
Well, for me, I think it's actually what is happening in the economy, and in particular, the better than expected June quarter inflation figures. For a long time, obviously, inflation is all anybody can talk about. It's been the driver of the 12 interest rate rises that we've had in record time. But this week, we really saw signs that things are improving pretty quickly. The consumer price index rose 0.8% in the June quarter. That's the smallest rise since the September quarter in 2021. The annual figure was 6%, down from 7% 3 months earlier. Obviously, the Reserve Bank really looks at the underlying measures, and they were down as well. And really, that's what's important here. It all kind of feeds into what the Reserve Bank board is thinking for next week. On one hand, we've got a very hot jobs market. On the other hand, inflation coming down. Maybe it'll be enough to just prevent a 13th rate rise on Tuesday.
That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Look, I thought what happened in markets this week is pretty fascinating. First, the numbers. The local share market's running hard, up 7% in the past 3 weeks, around a 5-month high, about 1% off its peak in February and only 2% off its all-time high of August 2021. This is going into earnings season. Commonwealth Bank, ANZ are doing really well. So too Fortescue Metals. Telstra's at a 6-year high, but it's the tech stocks that have really taken off. WiseTech Global, REA, Xero. Equity markets are priced on future earnings, what investors think will happen in 12 months' time or thereabouts. Based on the ASX, you'd have to say investors are pretty upbeat. Are we heading for a recession? We thought so just a few months ago. Maybe not. Michael.
Sean, moving on to most remarkable now. For me, I wouldn't have thought that anything that Elon Musk does anymore could qualify as most remarkable, but he really pulled one out this week. He has rebranded Twitter, the company he bought for $44 billion US. It is now X. And experts say that he may have wiped out somewhere between $4 billion and $20 billion US in value because it was a powerful brand built up across more than 15 really formative years for the digital era. Gone as the little blue bird, replaced with a new logo, just an X. Is it a good move? Well, Twitter's been losing advertisers, revenue down more than 50% since October. There are plans for the site to really become a platform for audio and video and messaging and payments and banking. Maybe he just wanted a fresh start, but this has pretty widespread repercussions. And is Elon Musk's personal brand going to be enough to help carry the platform from one form into another altogether? We will be watching this one. Everyone in the world is watching this one.
My most remarkable story also is about social media. Facebook came out this week and said it reaches 3 billion people. 3 billion, that's 40% of the global population. Wow, quite amazing. The reason it's hit that level is because of Reels, the short-form videos akin to TikTok. They've really taken off. They've attracted a younger audience. You've got to give it to Mark Zuckerberg. He's been able to revive Facebook, which of course is owned by Meta. Its sister organisation is Instagram. But Facebook, 3 billion users. Quite remarkable.
Yeah, that is remarkable. All right, on to Sleeper Story. What was it for you this week?
The story we'll hear about for decades, right? It's all about the Reserve Bank. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers this week said the bank won't be given additional votes on the new Monetary Policy Board, adding the central bank's interest rate decisions will be strengthened by outside opinion. Really? The new board structure is one of the key recommendations of the government's independent review of the bank earlier in the year. The Reserve Bank will have 2 votes, the governor and deputy governor out of 9. 7 other people will be helping set interest rate policy. Do they watch the economy day in, day out like the Reserve Bank? I don't think so. Are they skilled enough to read the economy? What sort of outside interests do they have? The only other G10 central bank where external members have a majority is the Bank of Japan, where 6 of the 9 Monetary Policy Committee members are appointed from outside the central bank. I think this is going to be a real problem. My sleeper story of the week.
That is a cracking story, that one. Look, my sleeper story, a little bit different because it's kind of the setup for a major battle in schools, not just around the country, but right around the world. We had a major United Nations report this week recommending that smartphones be banned from schools to help stop classroom disruption. Now, obviously, in Australia, a number of schools, plenty of schools already do this. A lot don't. But now on the back of this report, pressure will be on them to act. A lot of it we already know that they say the ban will improve learning, help protect kids from online bullying, that mobile phone use is associated with poor educational performance, screen time worsens emotional stability in kids, all this. But really, it is This report potentially sets up schools and education departments for a bit of a battle. They're going to be forced to confront this issue, and it may well blow up. I think it's a bit of a sleeper story.
Yeah, I reckon you're right.
All right, favourite story. I've got a quick one. It's really kind of a follow-up to a story that we've talked about in the past. It's all about Kanye West, who's now known obviously as Ye. In October of last year, his business empire imploded on the back of some anti-Semitic comments that he made. The backlash was huge, and rightly so. A lot of companies distanced themselves from him. Even his bank apparently told him to move his money. The biggest was Adidas cancelling a $1.5 billion deal based on his Yeezy sneakers. Fast forward to earlier this year, and Adidas said that they expected to incur a $1.15 billion loss due to unsold sneakers, the cost of a strategic review. They found a way around it. They decided to put some of those sneakers up for order. They didn't know if the brand was going to be too toxic, the Yeezy brand. Apparently, it wasn't. 4 million pairs of sneakers sold, 508 million euros worth. They're looking at doing it again at some point further down the track. And in doing so, they've managed to reduce the financial fallout from what was a pretty extraordinary event.
Sure was. Look, my favourite story was all about Joe Lewis, the UK billionaire real estate investor and owner of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. He's been charged over multiple alleged instances of insider trading. Basically, he tipped off employees, or the allegation is that he tipped off employees, associates, friends and romantic interests with non-public information about various entities, lent them hundreds of thousands of dollars. They made millions of dollars from it. Lewis is alleged to have shared information about publicly traded companies, including Australian Agricultural Company, AACO, which is listed on the ASX. The claim is that a director of AACO leaked board conversations about the impact of the Queensland floods to Lewis. Lewis, whose personal company owns about 50% of AACO, then allegedly passed on the information to one of his pilots and said they should trade as soon as possible. AACO chair Donald McGauchie sounded somewhat affronted by the allegation, saying he hadn't asked if any director was involved and there was a due process to follow. AACO is massive. It's got about 430,000 head of capital, owns about 1% of Australia's landmass. It is a cracking yarn.
Oh, it absolutely is. There we go. 5 minutes and pretty much everything you need to know in the world of business. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
We'll be back on Monday morning with the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and this is the Fast 5 Business News by Fear and Greed.